The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to The Gloves Are Off. I am Lance Phillips. Joining me today, of course, Andrew Brethauer from the Lloydminster Source. It's always good to have you here.
He says that now.
Always, and that shirt has just
this shirt
made
is
me proud.
beautiful.
It is.
I first was a little off by it, but now I've kind of grown in. It's a solid staple of the wardrobe lineup now.
Beautiful plaid. Also wearing plaid, Josh Ryan from New Cap News. Good to have you as well, my man.
Yeah, it's been months since I've been back, but
you've never guested with me though.
Yeah, first time with you.
I am looking forward to it, and we've got there's some good topics lined up today, gentlemen, don't we?
Yeah.
First of all, we're going to talk about an NBA icon, not only an NBA icon, but sports broadcasting icon, shall we say, in Craig Sager. Passed away last week at the age of 65. What has this guy done for not only basketball, Josh, but just sport in general?
Well, I think he's kind of shown the importance of having a personality, whether it's in your wardrobe or whether it's your reporting style. I mean, we have Don Cherry obviously up here, but he did something that I think people loved most was he had such a loud wardrobe, but he also had such a personable and quiet style of reporting. And I think that contrast of, pizzazz with just kind of integrity in the way he did his work is what really appealed to the rest of the league and to the fans as well. You see with all the reaction from the NBA players, the way they were tweeting about it afterwards when he passed away, not only for the way he fought the disease for so long, but also just the respect they had for him day to day. Even a guy like KJ, who's crazy. I mean, he's out of his mind, and he loved every interaction he ever had with Sager, whether it was reporting kind of off camera, off duty with the All-Star festivities, or just the in-between game interviews. They're normally so boring, but he made them so interesting.
And not only did he make them interesting, the people that he was with made them interesting because there was that rapport that they had developed. And Andrew made a good point before we started the show.
Yeah, it's you got to earn the respect. I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, everybody knows sports, or everyone pretends to know sports. And so when you're a sports reporter, you're entering a field where everyone has an opinion. Like, everyone may not have an opinion about politics and about the economy and business and that. Everyone has an opinion on sports, and everyone will tell you what they think. So when you're, in my case, writing, or you guys broadcasting and what's happening, and you're giving opinion, that's open to a lot of people criticizing you. And with him, he had this ability to be very personal, and he was good at your job asking those great questions. And from our side, it's something to learn from. And that even here in Lloydminster, we go through the same stuff that you earn that respect from your coaches. You don't just walk in and immediately they're gonna be they're nice to you, but you have to earn the level of respect. And when I remember last year when Gore Thibodeau was coach, and I actually questioned a guy up in Fort McMurray, and I said, what should I expect out of this guy? And he's like, if you don't know what you're talking about, he's going to be your worst enemy, because he wants to deal with someone who can respect the game and asking respectful questions. And then by the end of the year, you start to get that personal relationship with people. So that's what matters mostly when we're doing this job, is getting to that level that they respect you for what you're doing and you respect them as well.
It's incredible what was impressive to me is his fight throughout dealing with cancer. He had 3 stem cell transplants. 3, I mean, 2 is heard of barely. 3 is unheard of, and his will to continue to live throughout all that was impressive. And I think that translates from what he did on the court. It translated off the court as well in his battle with cancer. But a total loss for not only the basketball community but also just the sporting community in general.
Indeed.
Let's move on to some Blue Jays news. Jose Bautista, my favorite Seinfeld quote from the suit guy. No contract for you, 1 year. Well, maybe 1 year. He was offered a $17.2 million qualifying offer for 1 year. He's rejected it. The Jays have not come back with anything formal. Should they?
Well, I'm curious to hear your take, Andrew, but for my money, it's broken horse at this point. At least the conversations I've had is, why would you bother? You can get so many guys on the market that will give the same level of production both in the outfield and at the batter's box for less than what the Jays even offered him. Like, I mean, he's been a great player, obviously. He's had many great moments for this franchise, and he'll live on in Blue Jays lore, but he's aging. He's got a limited skill set now, and even when you watch him in the playoffs, there was kind of an unwillingness to become a different style of hitter. He was still swinging for home runs when perhaps he should have been trying to just get on base, take balls, maybe bunt every once in a while. And I think going forward,
That's quite a stance.
going forward, I mean, with the Jays, the direction Shapiro is taking them, do you want that guy who's maybe unwilling to change his game to be continue to be the face of the franchise and be a leader within the clubhouse? That's tough. For my money, just as a Jays fan, and if I was in that position, I wouldn't want to pay extra dollar to keep an aging player like that.
We actually had a guy work for us, and he told us that he thinks Jose should shorten up his swing. And I'm like, you don't pay a guy like Jose Bautista.
Is he insane?
Yeah, you don't pay that much money. Now, I understood the logic of what he was going for because there's so many guys on the Blue Jays who were hitting for the fence, and that was their team mentality, and you kind of needed some guys to just put some balls in play. Back to the question at hand, I think we're all tired of talking about this, by the way. You cannot offer him what you just did because no one else has offered him. That's the big thing about this is that everyone else has offered him contracts, but no one has offered and got him signed. He's lower than what his value is now. His value every day goes down. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't sign him for even the qualifying offer anymore.
Exactly.
He's run into a situation that's similar to Edwin Encarnacion in that they overvalued themselves at the beginning of the season. And Jose Bautista went through a season of injury. He is declining in the outfield. His presence in the batter's box is not what it used to be at one point. So they're no longer worth the money they think they're worth. And it's evident because nobody's paying them right now. The other big thing with these two is that because they were offered qualifying offers, there's a compensation of a draft pick if another team picks them up. And we've seen how highly coveted these draft picks are. And I'm not sure that a team is going to get rid of a draft pick in order to get two aging guys. That there's no way you're going to sign for 5 years. No chance.
You're going to get him for 1, 2. Like Batista's already breaking down. You don't know. And are you going to put him out in the field and, that's taken care of? No.
There's no chance he's
at
out there
most
4 years from now.
You can move him into first base DHing role. So if he goes to the National League, he's a liability out in the field right now. So you can't really put him in that kind of, and even with the Blue Jays, they can't sign him you need to go sign a right fielder. You need to have, and you can't move him to first because that's where if you're going to re-sign Edwin, that's where he plays. And one of them will go to DH, which messes up the rest of your order. You're starting to run out of options. And unfortunately for Jose, the option's no longer maybe not in Toronto anymore.
And ultimately with the new CBA coming up for baseball, that has made owners a little bit more hesitant to give out a big offer until some things are in place. So with that uncertainty, as you said, you're going to give up a draft pick and give up extra dollar for a guy that is declining. It's a big risk for anyone to take, and I just don't think the Jays, with the talent they still have on this team to make another run, should take that risk.
You know another big risk to take? Play NFL football. That is coming up next on The Gloves Are Off. Cam Newton takes a nasty hit, and he gets penalized. Welcome back to The Gloves Are Off. Lance Phillips joined by Andrew Brethauer and Josh Ryan. Cam Newton, last night, which is Monday Night Football, took a hit along the sidelines in the head as he was going down, as he was sliding. He got up, he flipped the ball towards the defender, and Cam Newton got penalized, not the player who hit him in the head. And this to me it's a specific problem with the NFL, obviously, but there's a more inherent problem here with every league not doing enough to protect its players. Like you guys saw this Cam Newton hit. You know what I'm talking about. Was that a situation where the officials need to come down hard on the defender in that play?
See, I don't know.
You
look at the hit. It doesn't, was it a hit to the head? Yes.
Yeah.
But did the guy already try and go to make the tackle before Cam slid? Yeah, he did. So, I don't know, I project myself in the air. I can't mystically make a 45-degree turn to stop myself from hitting the target where I'm going, and which originally wasn't Cam Newton's head. His head filled the void. I'm not making excuses for it, but this is the inherent problem we now have in any sport is that games are getting too fast, players can't make adjustments that quickly, and we're getting these head contacts. So it's almost like you need to take a drastic change, not just these little ones. You need to go the whole route. Quarterbacks can't run anymore, something along those lines, because you're running out of options if this is what if we're getting so upset about this, there's so many more other options we're going to have problems with.
I think the issue is here, though, is that I understand what you're saying from the standpoint that he was coming fast, but you're chasing a quarterback, and no quarterback in that situation is going to continue to go. He's going to go down. He's going to slide.
I've
and
seen
if you
quarterbacks
know
go,
he's going
though.
to slide, not in that situation.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like he was not close to getting a first down. He wasn't in a situation where he needed it. He was going to slide, and you have got to recognize that as a defender.
But the time that you don't recognize it, they're going to break free, and that's what you can't do. And then part of it is, and it's showing the quarterback that, hey, you want to run, fine, we're coming after you. You're a player, we're going to hit you.
But don't you think some of that comes too from maybe whether it's a respect around the league for certain quarterbacks, and that we talked earlier off camera that maybe Cam Newton does have some enemies in the league, whether it's at the office level or on the field for his kind of off-field stuff. But don't you think that some of that comes from? Do you think Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, they get hit with that hit, and then they get hit with that suspension?
Can of
With
worms
that penalty?
just
Yeah.
got opened.
I don't know.
But the thing is that Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre aren't running for 90 yards a game. Name a time when either one of them have scampered out for 100 yards, led their team with how many touchdowns? Like, we draft Cam Newton in fantasy football because he gets yards on the ground and scores touchdowns, not because he's a throwing machine.
I understand that, but Josh raises a good point here, and this has been a highly contested topic of conversation. Is his skin color, and they think that there's people around the league that broadcast for the league, not broadcast for the league, but are broadcasters that broadcast the league out there believe that that's the case. And a case could be made for that.
If you just look at the statistics of which quarterbacks have had the most roughing the passer penalties on them this year, and yes, obviously Cam Newton's going to be in more situations. Like that's to your point, actually. You'd think Cam Newton would get more roughing the passer penalties because he's going to be hit more often because he's running more, and his roughing the passer penalties compared to someone like a Rodgers, a Brady, even a Russell Wilson, someone of the same skin color, it's not even close. If you look at him compared to say another running quarterback like Tim Tebow, would get roughing the passer penalties all the time. And yes, it's a small sample size, but that's a guy who was a running quarterback and who didn't get the same attention or lack of attention from the officials that Cam Newton gets.
But you're not getting a roughing the passer as soon as you take off. As soon as you leave that pocket, that's done. And that's what Cam's known for. He's known to run. I'm on defense. I'm not taking a chance at Cam Newton. Oh, he might slide. I'm not going to hit him. And then there goes Cam Newton. Now he's gone for 60 yards and a touchdown. Unfortunately, Cam Newton, and race, nothing aside, he's a player that is known to break and make miraculous plays. We've seen him leap over guys and run 60, 80, 90 yards. I'm going to stop Cam Newton if I'm a defense. That's my job, is to stop Cam Newton.
Michael Wilbon from ESPN blasted the NFL officials last night. He essentially did say that they should be suspended for not making that call. I've got to agree with him. That call has got to be made. And I'm not saying this, I understand what you're saying, Josh, about the racial situation there. Like I said, that's been hotly contested. But you have got to make that call. If there's head contact, that has got to happen. And it's got to happen throughout
And
all
that's
leagues.
the problem. And this has nothing to do with race, player, anything. You got to come to a consensus. What is head contact? What are we going to call?
It's head
And if
contact.
that's what I mean. Is it A, B, C, all of the above, none? What is it? If you're going to call it, call it. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. And players who are diving, if they make a contact, well, now me as a defender, I need to know that I might get a penalty for that, or I might get suspended or fined. Make it universal and call the thing.
If you really care about player safety, you make it as safe as humanly possible, or you accept the risks you take. You either have to make it blanket across head contact, illegal, not this situation is legal, this situation might be illegal. And if there's changes to the sport and the way the sport's played, people complain in hockey all the time about how it's not like the good old days. Well, you have to make a decision. Either you're okay with inherent risk to the players in this situation, or as safe as possible. And it's just a different brand of hockey or football or basketball.
It's interesting you brought up hockey, Josh, because there's one situation that sticks clearly in my mind, a couple actually. The first one is Ryan Reeves, who last season, in February, I think it was the 24th, hit Matt Tennyson behind the net, a clear, blatant headshot, and knocked Tennyson out, and was suspended 3 games. And then came back less than a month later, 3 weeks later, and hit Christian Ehrhoff of the Blackhawks behind the net as well. and wasn't suspended. It's one or the other. He's either going to be suspended or he's not. There's no way you can suspend a guy for 3 games. He comes back, does the same thing, and you're not going to suspend him. And this is a problem. They're not protecting players. Matt Cook has had at least 5 suspensions since he's came in the league. How does a player get to the 3rd suspension? How does that happen? He took Mark Savard out of hockey and was not suspended for that hit. And it just goes back to this problem where leagues do not protect their players.
And
a headshot is
the
a
worst
headshot.
thing is that Matt Cook is a prime example of it works, because Matt Cook changed. It may have took 5 lessons, and it did. Matt Cook changed his game. I know this. He's played for the Penguins. He actually turned into a good player after he got rid of all that nonsense. It changed. He developed over time and realized, I can't do this anymore, or I'm just going to be sitting out all the time. So it works if you keep it consistent.
Right, it works. He only had to end a guy's career. It totally worked, though. He should have never
He's still
gone
being
to that
traded.
point,
He's
is
still
what I'm saying.
fine.
But it's an issue that these leagues continually fight with, and they need to be better. You can't allow players to have head contact like that. You know what you can allow, though? Over-under. And that is coming up next on The Gloves Are Off with Josh Ryan and Andrew Brethauer. Stay tuned. Welcome back to The Gloves Are Off. Lance Phillips with Andrew Brethauer and Josh Ryan. Over-under, gentlemen. It could be the last time for over-under.
It better be. Oh, God.
Andrew Brethauer loves this game. There's no question about it. Let's start with some Blue Jays, shall we?
Yeah.
We'll start with you, Andrew, since you love this so much. In what round was Jose Bautista drafted in by Pittsburgh in the year 2000?
8th.
Up, over, or under? Mr. Ryan.
Under as in he was drafted sooner than the 8th round.
Correct.
I'm going to say under.
You're wrong, Mr. Ryan, which means Mr. Brethauer gets the point. It was the 20th round.
Really?
The 20th round.
Wow.
That's a steal.
I know he catch you guys off guard there.
It was a steal. Wow.
All right, let's go to number 2.
Okay.
Mr. Ryan, you're up.
Yep.
In their history, how many wins do the Blue Jays have as a franchise?
Oh, asking the wrong guy. In their history, and they play 162 games a year. Man,
Some bad years there in the
9,999.
Whoa.
Under.
I'd say you get that point.
Probably.
3,167 wins. Right. They're actually not a 500 club. They're under 500 for their history.
That I'm not shocked by.
Some bad years in the 90s, let me tell you. Number 3. What is the Toronto Raptors 2016-2017 payroll, Mr. Brethauer?
76 million?
76 million?
Yep.
Over or under?
Over.
Do you know what it is?
I believe it's like somewhere around 105.
That's pretty close. It is 106,742,969.
We're
One for Mr. Ryan. I'm marking this down.
We're paying DeMar like 27 point something. Like we had to be over 77.
Coming back to you. Okay. How many career passing touchdowns does Cam Newton have?
Well, we just talked about how much he runs, so maybe not that many. Passing touchdowns. 42.
Over.
Over is correct. Mr. Brethauer is the winner today, but we still have another question. It is 132 is the answer.
Darn. Really? Okay.
How many jerseys have the Oakland Raiders retired, Mr. Brethauer?
14.
Over or under?
It's Oakland.
True.
Running out of numbers.
I'm going to say over, though.
It's a trick question. It's under. It's 0 because the Oakland Raiders do not retire jerseys.
Wow.
But Mr. Brethauer is the winner, which means you have a sound-off coming up at the end of the show. Get prepared. It better be good. It's got to be good. I expect good things out of you.
Take another minute.
We got fair or foul coming up next. And you guys are going to love the fair or foul question. Question number 1 is hot. Hot. And that is coming up next on The Gloves Are Off. Back to The Gloves Are Off. It's time for some fair or foul. Question number 1 is a hot piece of questioning. Let's just put it that way. That's just not even questioning. It's just a comment I'm going to throw out there. All right, fair or foul, gentlemen. Statement number 1. Andrew Brethauer will get an actual lump of coal in his stocking this year? Fair or foul, Mr. Ryan?
Fair. Now, if we're talking whether it'll happen or not, I'd say foul. But if we're talking whether he deserves it, I think it'd be really funny. So fair.
Mr.
No,
Brethauer,
will I or did I?
Will-
Me
you will
deserving is
actually-
not a question.
you
We
will
know.
actually get a hot lump of coal in your
Not a
stocking.
chance.
No chance?
Not a chance. My parents already sent my stuff out here. Great parents, by the way. They would not send their favorite son that.
Who's to say someone else sends you a
Yeah, what
phone
about
call,
your
though?
partner across the coffee table from you?
Please, you don't count.
All right.
No.
I do believe that you may receive a lump of coal
Not a
in your
chance.
stocking. I haven't seen one ever, but I think you might be
Well,
the
now
first.
the idea's in my head. We gotta
No, for
get
sure.
someone
Not
on
a
board.
For sure. And listeners and viewers are watching this and thinking, lump of coal could be
The coal's
necessary.
expensive right now. You can't,
That's
Alberta,
true. That's
Alberta's
actually
shutting
good
it down.
too.
I'll
That's a good
stockpile.
point.
That is a good point.
All right. Fair or foul? Jose Bautista will come to you, Mr. Brethauer. Jose Bautista will not be signed by June 1st. The season starts in April. He will not be signed by June 1st.
I think he'll eventually cave. So I say it's foul. I think he'll eventually cave to somebody, and someone will pay him some kind of money for some reason. But he'll be signed before the season starts.
Exactly. It's Major League Sports. There's always one owner who's going to spend way too much money in an off season. He'll end up with a team by the start of the season.
You think he'll end up with a team?
Yeah, a team.
I think he'll eventually come to his realization. He'll have to. Like,
There's no way anybody is signing this guy by the beginning of the season.
He needs
No
money for
chance.
his, expensive life.
but someone will. He'll come down in his expectations. He's not getting 17. He'll eventually sign for something smaller, but he'll eventually get a team. He's not going. You get close to that start date, it's going to look a lot worse trying to sign in June when you're not signed up before then.
Makes me wonder even about Edwin Encarnacion. Is he going to be signed by April? The Jays offered him 4 years at $20 million a season, and he didn't take it. I mean, no, clearly he's overvalued himself as well. They're both in this situation. I don't see either of them being signed by Encarnacion possibly if he comes down, but no way Bautista. No chance.
He's gotten a couple offers for 3 years, 60, which obviously is not as good a deal as the Jays gave him, but I think if things get close to the wire, he'll definitely take that.
Oh my goodness, you guys are in a dream world. Coming back with Sound Off, Mr. Brethauer has got some gold. I know it. And we're having that next on the Gloves Are Off. We're back, sports fans, and it's Sound Off. Mr. Brethauer, that camera is yours.
Despite these two jokers trying to give me coal for Christmas, they're not going to ruin my Christmas. It has to be my favorite time of the year. I just wish everyone Merry Christmas, great New Year coming up too. Even you two, I guess.
Well, that's
So
first.
nice.
And I might come back in the new year and do this for another year, but they finally start forking out some money and paying me.
We're,
But
we're
we'll
gonna
see.
we're gonna get you an official Gloves Are Off mug.
Be nice.
We're gonna do
Been
it.
waiting 2 years for that. Budget cuts.
Mr. Ryan, what about you? Did you ask for anything nice for Christmas?
I honestly just wanted to get a new tie, and I'm good.
I got a new tie coming for you, buddy.
One real good, nice
I
new
got
tie,
a
and
new
I'm
tie
happy.
coming for you. Good news from the Gloves Are Off. We've got some interesting stuff planned in the new year. This is, of course, our last show. We'll be back Tuesday, July. That'd be nice. Tuesday, January 3rd. Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy New Year. Stay safe. We'll catch you in 2017.